a quick judges roll call to confirm that I have all of the judges here. Do we have Car on the call? Do we have Car on the call? Okay. Do we have Polver on the call?
Yes, I'm present. I'm
Sorry.
here.
Do we have, okay. I am so sorry that I murdered your name. I am so sorry. Please, I'm just going to.
Should I on this one later? Which one should we use?
Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself if you mute yourself if I'm not asking you to unmute. Thank you. Do we have Rahman on the call? Is Rahman on this call? Do we have Rahman on this call? Lefosa, is Lefosa on this call?
Lefosa just joined, so it might take a minute for his video or his audio to come on.
Okay, thank you so much. Do we have Mercy on the call? Is Mercy on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so we have Mercy, we have Pover, we have Lefusa. We're waiting for Ka and Rahman. So let me tag them.
Hello, am I audible? Are here.
Oh, yeah, the chair is on the call. Thank you so much for joining. Kerry, I think Rahman is joining in now. All right. Hi, everyone. This is from the CAP team. I'm just going to hand over to the organizing committee one last time after this. Congratulations once more for making it to the grand finals. This is a very huge achievement for you, making it to the grand final of World Schools, Nigerian Schools Debates competition. It shows how much you've put into this, and then I wish you all of the best in the grand finals, and may the best team wins. I'll hand over to Joanne now to continue the coordination, who then should hand over to the chair so we can get this final started. All the best teams. See you at the end of the road. Joanne?
Thank you so much, Toby. So a few housekeeping tips before I hand over to the chair for this round. Please ensure that your video and your audio when you're speaking is on at all times. Remember, you're being live streamed, so try as much as possible to act accordingly. Good luck to both teams, and may the best team win. I'll be handing over to the chair now.
Thank you, Joanne, for that. Can you confirm, am I clearly audible?
Yes, you are, Ka.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Toby, for those kind words. Thank you for introducing all the teams here. Hello, teams. Congratulations on making it this far. It's the grand finals of Nigerian Schools Debate League. Thank you, Joanne, for handing me the floor. And without further ado, I believe we should start with the tournament from our side. Let the round begin. With that being said, let us call upon the stage Prime Minister to put forward the case from side proposition. Prime Minister, whenever you're ready, sure. Prime Minister?
CDSS, you've called to speak.
I think there's one of the judges that has not joined in yet. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to reach out to them. The first speaker for CDSS, you can please start your June. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think they've sent a request. Lifosa, can I confirm you're on the call now? Okay. Chair, you can please. Lifosa, can I confirm you're in the call now? Lifosa, can I confirm you're on the call now?
He's on the call, but I don't think he's connected his audio yet.
Okay, I'm just going to replace them. Henry is coming to replace them. But before then, teams, if you want to dedicate your speech, you can dedicate your speech in the first 10 seconds of your speech. If you want to say thank you to anybody, you can do that in the first 10 seconds of your speeches to the teams. So if you can make short dedications.
Then if you want to dedicate your speech to anybody, you can do that in the first 10 minutes. You're not dedicated to anybody. It's not. Yeah. So we can. I start in 3, 2, 1. Panel. This is a fair motion. And in this debate, the team that wins is the team that does a better comparison between a world where political parties exist and a world where they do. It's all called Julia Reserve. Stand before you today is Omene Ejogene Blessing, acting as the first capper team proposition on the motion which says this house prefers a world with political parties. Now, at the first, I'll be giving you a definition of key points and showing you a world with political parties compared to a world with political parties, show you how a world without political parties is better on our side. For my second speaker, I'll be giving you rebuttals and fleshing of my team's case, and third speaker, I'll be giving you rebuttals and giving you a quick summary of what we have shown you so far in this debate. Now, panel, the key term with this debate is political party. A political party can be defined as a group of individuals who come together with the same interests and the same like mind in order to bring out a representative to represent them for positions in place of political presence or during elections. Now, in this debate, we will show you two worlds. World one is one with political parties, and world two is one without political parties. We will then prove to you, because this is a preferred motion, how our world is most preferred and how it serves the political structure of a nation or state and the people. In our speech, we will be showing you the world with political parties and show you the world without. We will compare to the positive why our world, i.e. the world without political parties, is best. And at the end of this debate, the team that wins will be one that proves the best political structure that best serves both states and the people. Now moving on to a world with political parties. Panel, I'll be showing you the nature of political parties. Nature of political parties is that in which political parties operate with certain ideologies that form the basis of their structures. The nature of political parties is that in political parties, for them to come out as representative of these parties, they will first get their tickets, thereby proceeding to primary elections in which they will be picked out of these primary elections. Panel, notice how corruption is even at this level, as there are cases and incidents, and when doing these primary elections, it's these individuals bribe or pay these their chairs to vote in their favor for them to represent the people. Notice in the nature of political parties, how political parties gives you an individual to represent that whole party in these elections. I'm now moving down to argument 2, party interests and political ideologies. Party interests and political ideologies. Representation of parties' ideologies of the nation in this debate is that when these individuals get into power, parties operate with certain ideologies and beliefs which may not be what the masses want. In fact, some candidates are forced to tweak their own ideology to that of a political party. What is problematic in this is that the nation now has the atmosphere of the ideology of these political parties. What we see in this is that the person no longer operates in the favor of the people, they now operate in the favor of their political parties, representing their interests and not that of these individuals. Now, because they came as representative of these political parties, they will have to change their own mindsets and tweak their own personal ideologies to that of the parties to conform to their interests. Now, moving down to third argument under this is elitism. Elitism can be defined as party in the hands of a selected few who are believed to have the qualifications needed to run the state. Notice how elitism leads to corruption, nepotism, and abuse of human rights. Because when you have elitism, which is the rule of a few masses and the rule of few individuals, these individuals being the elite, you see people not with the right qualifications needed, not with their own merits, but just for factors such as power and money. This will lead to corruption and nepotism and abuse of human rights because we no longer focus on the masses of individuals, we now focus on the masses of these selected elites who may not be qualified to represent the whole nation at large. I will now move down to the world without political parties, what our world looks like. In our world, we have meritocracy. Meritocracy is simply a situation whereby the people elected and are best in these sectors. We no longer have a situation whereby a president who has no idea how to handle petroleum. In case of Nigeria, the president being the petroleum minister is in power. We now have people who are there with their own merits, with someone who has a vast knowledge in technical area, not getting into the financial area. In these cases, on our side, we have meritocracy because people who deserve to be in this area, people who have the knowledge to be in this area, are in these areas, putting them to where they belong. On our side, we have flexible and adaptive governance because in our side of the house, we are flexible and more adaptive because we now allow every individual in the state to contest. We no longer put the masses in these countries to select only those who the political parties have brought forward to them to be chosen to represent them. We now have any individual, that big or whether young or old, with the necessary skills, coming out to represent the people. I'll take your POI now. I'll now move down to the third argument, diverse representation. On our side of the house, we have diverse representation. We now give it to the people for them to choose, for anyone to come out to represent these people, anyone to come out for these positions, instead of putting it on the political parties to give individuals, thereby creating a vast majority of people to be elected during these elections. In our side of the house, we have the average representation where in positions, well, the citizens are limited to who they to them. Now, what have we been able to show in this debate? I'll be able to show you the nature of political parties and how the political parties limit the people's voting to who fight for them. We also show you how party interests and ideologies change the atmosphere of these countries, because an individual from an example, APC cannot be seen going to a person from PDP for ideas. They are limited to their party's knowledge only. And I'll show you a world without, where you have meritocracy, where people who are qualified get to power, flexible and adaptive governments, where the government can easily adapt, and with this, I'm going to be more proud to be a professional speaker.
For the fine speech, would like to call upon the stage Leader of Opposition to put forward the case from side opposition. Leader of Opposition, whenever you're ready, you're here.
Can I start? Can I
Yes,
start?
you're clearly audible. Yes, you can start.
Honorable Agriculture, distinguished opponents and members of the audience. Today, we vehemently oppose the motion that says the world itself. Political parties are not merely organizations of convenience but critical pillars of democratic government. That they provide structure, accountability, and coherence to political discourses, ensuring that diverse voices and interests are represented and debated in the public sphere. While they are not without law, political parties serve as a vehicle for policy development, electoral competition, and government accountability. To dismantle political parties is to dismantle the very framework that facilitates effective governance and meaningful political participation. In their absence, political landscape will descend into chaos, lacking the coherence to negative
Speaker,
social change.
speaker, speaker, you're not very clearly audible. Could you try to come forward a bit so that you can be very clearly audible and you can restart your speech?
Outside in 3, 2, 1. Honorable
It's not better. Sorry, speaker. We are still, it's still muffled together. You're not audible. Can you speak directly to the gadget? Can you speak directly to the microphone? You're still not audible. Try reading the motion or try to say anything.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yes, you're clear now.
I will start in 3, 2, 1. Honorable adjudicators, distinguished opponents, and member of the audience. Today, we vehemently oppose the motion that states a world without political parties is the preferable. Political parties are not merely organizations of convenience, but critical pillars of democratic governance. They provide structure, accountability, and coherence to political discourse, ensuring that diverse choices and interests are represented and debated in the public sphere. While they are not without flaws, political parties serve as vehicles for policy development, electoral competition, and government accountability. To dismantle political parties is to dismantle the very framework that facilitates effective governance and meaningful political participation. In their absence, the political landscape will descend into chaos, lacking the coherence necessary to negative complex societal challenges and global affairs. Parties provided a platform for informed debate, policy formulation, and electoral choice, essential components of a robust democratic system. Throughout this debate, we will demonstrate the political parties, despite their imperfections, remain indispensable to function of democracy. They foster stability, ensure continuity in government, and enable citizens to engage meaningfully in shaping their collective future. We urge you to consider the tangible benefits that political parties bring to democratic societies and to reject the notion that their elimination will lead to a better world. It seems like the team proposition did not understand the entire debate because we didn't have any solution to this argument, and we didn't have any problem and the causes of this problem. They only raise, and there is no any model. They only raise 3 points, which is political ideologies, elitisms, and meritocracy and corruption. Political ideology, they claim that we need to get rid of political parties because of their ideologies. We disagree with this claim because parties aggregate the will and views of their interests through their representative, leading to a better government. Panel, this point is destroyed. And the rest point on corruption. While parties can susceptible to corruption, they also establish rules and norms that govern political behavior. Strong party structure enforce ethical standards and transparency measures, reducing opportunities for corrupt practices. Without parties, independent candidates may lack the oversight and internal controls necessary to prevent undue influence and maintain integrity. I would like to clear proposition misconception and prove that the reasons to dissolve political parties are incorrect. The problems of corruption can be solved through transparency and accountability measures. Strengthen party regulation to enforce transparent funding resources, internal audits, and strict penalties for corruption within party ranks, and implement mechanisms for public scrutiny and independent oversight to ensure adherence to ethical standards. Polarization. The problem of polarization can be solved through promoting of dialogue and compromise. Encourage internal party mechanisms that promote inclusivity, respect for diverse viewpoints, and constructive debate. Foster leadership that emphasizes consensus building over partisan division to mitigate polarization. Panel, here are the harms of a world without political parties, which the proposition are all about in today's debate. First, reduce organizational structures. Without political parties, opposition groups may struggle to organize effectively, leading to fragmented efforts and reduced ability to mobilize voters and coordinate action against the ruling government. Second, limited resources and visibility. Political parties often provide financial resources, media access, and organizational support that opposition groups rely on to challenge incumbents. Without parties, opposition movements may face difficulties in gaining public attention and competing on an equal footing. Panel, we will solve the problems in the status quo in 6 practical and crucial steps. First, transparency and accountability measure. We will implement strengthened regulations, require parties to disclose funding resources and expenditures publicly. Second, promoting of internal democracy. We will strengthen internal party democracy by reforming candidate selection processes. Third, education and civic engagement. We will launch comprehensive civic education campaigns and outreach programs. Fourth, inclusivity and diversity. We will encourage diversity within party leadership and membership. Fifth, promotion of bipartisanship. We will facilitate dialogue and cooperation between parties on critical issues. And the 6th is monitoring and evaluation. We will establish robust monitoring and evaluation mechanism for party performance. To fortify by a multifaceted approach encompassing 7 pivotal points. First, political stability and coherence. Second, effective policy implementation. Third, enhanced accountability mechanism. Fourth, voter education and engagement. Fifth, organized political education. Sixth, reduction of special interest influence. Seventh, inclusive representation and governance, which I, as the Prime Minister, I will be debating on 3 main arguments, which is political stability and coherence, effective policy implementation, and enhanced accountability mechanism. Then our second speaker will be on stage to debate on voter education and engagement, organized political action, reduction of special interest influence, and inclusive representation and governance. Then our word speaker, who will refuse, reaffirm, and prove to the House how we so much deserve to have a win in this debate. Panel, moving on to my first point of argument, what is political stability and coherence. I strongly believe that political parties provide stability and coherence by creating structured platform and manifesto that guide policy direction and governance. Parties ensures that elected officials adhere a common agenda, making it easier to achieve policy goals and maintain consistent governance. Example, in Germany, the coalition government system exemplifies how political parties work together to ensure stability. The CDU and CSU, Christian Democratic Union, or Christian Social Union, and coalition has provided Germany with stable governance by agreeing on a joint policy agenda and working collaboratively to implement it. Therefore, this point is solid. Moving on with my second point of argument, which is effective policy implementation. Political parties help in the effective implementation of policy by providing a structured approach to governance. Example, in the United States, the Democratic and Republican parties create detailed platform during their national convention. This platform guides the policy, priorities, and legislative agendas of their elected officials. Moving on to my third point of argument, which is enhanced accountability mechanism. Political parties have internal mechanism to hold their members accountable, ensuring that politicians adhere to party platform and commitment. Example, the Labour Party in the UK has a comprehensive manifesto that outlines its commitment and policy goals. Member of Parliament, MPs, are expected to adhere to this commitment. In conclusion, while the proposition seeks to eliminate political parties in pursuit of reducing polarization and corruption, we have shown that this issue can be addressed through reforms rather than evaluation. Political parties provide necessary structure, stability, and coherence to our democratic system. They enable effectiveness policy implementation, enhance accountability, and foster engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, for the fine speech. Would like to call upon the stage Deputy Leader of Opposition, Deputy Prime Minister, to put forward the case from side proposition. Deputy Prime Minister, DPM, whenever you're ready, here.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you're clearly audible. You may proceed.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panel, this debate is not about solution. Rather, it's about why we prefer it and what who are the people that will benefit from this. As a second speaker of today's speech, I'll first of all be giving you the rebuttals, then I'll move on to my arguments and strengthen our team skills. First off, panel, note how the proposition talked about the ideologies of say that the people's ideology is that if we don't have political parties and there won't be the state ideology will be bad. Note that the ideologies of these political parties reflect the way that state will be, reflect the way that country, that nation would be. We see that people begin to see that it's an Islamic state, it's a liberal state. It does not mean that I'm living in this type of state and I'm a liberal. It does not mean that my state is a liberal state, but I'm a liberal. Their ideology becomes what people think about the nation. That it's only that only speaking. It only shows what only speaking for less than half of these people. They talked about how there's going to be limited resources if there are no political parties. Note that because these political parties are the ones who pay for this, they become inherently too powerful. They become inherently too powerful. Even if the president wants to do good, they must first address the political. They must first address the political party, which will be arguing in my debate. But first, giving the rebuttals. They also talked about the colorative system in Germany. Note that before the system took place, the Germany took down the political party because they know that two leaders cannot stay in the same place. There has to be one leader because they can't have a collaborative party and a political party. Before the collaborative party even came into the existence, what Germany did was to take down this political party. Now moving on to my debates. First off, we talk about political polarization. Now moving on to what the world is without political parties, which I'll be continuing what the world is with political parties, which I'll be continuing from where my first speaker stopped. political polarization. This simply means when these political parties clearly are arguing over unreasonable matters, or matters that there are no need to be focusing on. Like said, oh, you said this, I said this, you're lying, I'm lying, you're lying, and I'm lying. Instead of them to focus on the main ideas, this should actually this happens both between the most powerful people. Like an example is the APC and the PDP. If they are arguing, other parties or other parties that want to give good ideas, or even the president, when he wants to talk, we find out that these people, we find out that they don't tend to do all of this because they are arguing and they are taking their mind away from the basic thing they're supposed to be focusing on. Also political reprehension. This is where these bigger political parties begin to trample on the opposition parties. They distort their actions. They say that, oh, we are the leader, we are not going to allow all that, or we are not going to allow all this, or they use their power to actually make other people feel, other parties feel less. This should actually lead to a lot of confusion in the political organization. Now, this leads to my third argument: political power hold. The fact that these people trample on their opposition parties is because they have the power. When these people become too powerful, which they already are, they tend to only focus on their own self, and it actually goes out of in Nigeria now. Even if the president wants to do a good thing or a good deed, he has to first go and meet his political parties before even asking of the consent of the people. And evidence shows that the Communist Party of China, TPC, is the country's governing party and the only legally recognized political party. The CPC has a tight grip on political power, and the country's political landscape is shaped by the party's ideology, policies, and leadership. While there may be some internal dissent and factionalism within the party, the CPC's dominance is unparalleled and opposition parties are not tolerated. It's worth noting that there are some small unofficial political groups and dissident organizations that exist outside of the official political framework. Now, this shows how these people has become too powerful that they control a lot of this in that nation. Furthermore, political parties in the world tend to be hegemonic in nature person. Notice that the main reason why political parties exist is to occupy political positions. But are they doing this? As a political party, they are better able to find the activities of the party, pay their staff, and still maintain financial stability when they are in power and are able to access funds from the government. These particular reasons make them take desperate actions in order to secure the power or to continually remain in power. These desperate measures include having political godfathers who sponsor their elections. At the end of the day, such political godfathers dictate the kind of decisions they should make where they eventually win the elections. Such political parties become more violent during election periods and engage in many electoral malpractices like rigging, thuggery, etc. Hence, at the end of the day, people are not able to elect their leaders through a free and fair means. Now, what have I been able to show you in today's debate? What have I been able to show you in today's debate? I was able to show you I was able to continue from where my first speakers stopped on what the world looks like with political parties, which are the political polarizations, political repressions, political power. While the third speaker will be giving reports and given some of our team's case, I gave rebuttals on what in proposition had said, and then I moved on to I gave evidences on how these political parties hold too much power. And with all this being said, I've never been more prouder to propose this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, for the fine speech. Would like to call upon the stage now Deputy Leader of Opposition to put forward the case from side opposition. DLO, whenever you're ready, here.
Can I start?
Yes, you may start whenever you're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished judges and respected opponents. As the Deputy Leading Speaker of the Opposition, I really appreciate the opportunity for further elaboration on our opposition stance against the motion advocating building a world without political party. Finally, before I go further, I would like to start with counterattacking the points that the proposition team have raised. Panel, she only raised only 2 points, which is the first point is polarization. Panel, proposition argue that political parties foster polarization. However, parties also provide a structured framework for organizing diverse viewpoints and negotiating compromises. In their absence, ideological differences may lead to a greater polarization, as seen in the fragment multi-party system where coalition building in challenging the ideological roots remain under-resolved. And the second point she raised is political reparation. Panel, we strongly believe that they claim that parties are selfish and keep everything to their parties. This is not true because this is solved through checks and balances. This point is destroyed. All the 2 points she raised have been destroyed. Panel, the proposition team problem can be solved by fixing political parties framework, not dissolving them. First, number 1, corruption. We can solve this problem by using transparency and accountability measure. Number 2, polarization. We can solve polarization by promotion of dialogue and compromises. Finally, here are the harms if we go with proposition claim to dissolve political parties. Number 1, reduce organizational structures. Number 2, limited resources and visibility. Number 3, lost political influence. 4, vulnerability to reparation. 5, lack of alternative policy proposals. And then 5th, long-term democratic stability. Finally, we had no response from proposition on all these harms. Therefore, they are still standing and true. Panel, we proceed to present strong counter model to fix and strengthen political parties. Number 1, transparency and accountability. 2, promotion of internal democracy. 3, education and civic engagement. 4, inclusivity and diversity. 5, promotion of bipartisanship. Then 5, monitoring the evaluation. Panel, let's move to my first point of argument, which is encouragement of innovative and pragmatic policies. Panel, political parties often adhere rigidly to their platform, which can still stifle innovative and pragmatic policy making. Without the constraints of political or party ideology, policymakers will be free to adopt flexible and practical solutions to address societal challenges. This openness to diverse ideas and evidence-based approaches could lead to a more effective and forward-thinking policies. For example, New Zealand adopted a mixed member proportional representation system has allowed for a more diverse parliament. With representation from various smaller parties and independent, this system has facilitated innovative policy solutions such as zero carbon acts. The next point of argument of mine is reduction of corruption and cronyism. Political parties can create environments where loyalty and cronyism are prioritized over merits and public interest. This can lead to corruption as party members may engage in unethical practice to maintain their position or favor their allies. Move to my next point of argument, which is, for example, the 2008 financial crisis, Iceland's traditional party system was severely shaken, leading to the rise of new movements and independent candidates. The Rest Party, founded by comedian John Garner, won the Reykjavik municipal election in 2010. With this platform, the transparency, honest, and anti-corruption, this shift brought a fresh perspective to Iceland's policies, reduction corruption, and increased public trust in governments. The success of the West Party highlighting the potential benefits to reducing party influence in politics. Therefore, this point is solid. Move to my next point of argument, which is better representation for minority and marginalized communities. Finally, political parties often focus on appealing to their core constituencies, which can result in the underrepresentation of minority and marginalized groups. For example, in Canada, indigenous candidates have successfully run for office, bringing critical attention to issues specifically to indigenous communities. For example, Romeo Saganash, an indigenous leader, served as a member of parliament and was a strong advocate for indigenous rights and environmental protection. Therefore, the point is solid. Move to my next point of argument, which is protection from foreign influence and interferences. Finally, political parties can be susceptible to foreign influence through campaign donations, lobbying, and other forms of intervention. For example, Switzerland's political system, characterized by its neutrality and direct democracy, make it less vulnerable to foreign interference.
Who better serves the people? A leader
in
who
conclusion, I urge you to embrace this vision of world without political parties, a world where governance is driven by the need and interests of people, leading to a healthier, more representative, and effective democracy. Let us move beyond the limitation of party-based politics and work toward a future that truly embodies the principle of fairness, transparency, and trust representation. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, for the fine speech. Would like to call upon the stage the government whip to put forward the debate and wrap up the debate from side proposition. Government whip, whenever you're ready, here. Government whip, you hear?
Can I confirm that the chair can hear me?
Yes, you're clearly audible. You may proceed.
Okay. I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Standing before you today is the third speaker for the proposition side, here to debate on the motion which says this House prefers a world without political parties. As the third speaker, I'll be giving rebuttals to what the opposition side said, and I'll be telling you what my side have said. I'll give you a summary of our team case, and I'll be telling you why we have certainly won in this debate. Now, I'll be starting with what my side of the House has said. My side of the House has shown you the nature of political parties, which is how corrupt they are. He has shown you how my first speaker was able to show you what they practice, able to show you that before they have these elections, they have to first have primary elections and elections in between the parties. That is what we've shown you as the nature of political parties. We've also been able to show you party interests and political ideologies. Yes, this speaker for the opposition side said, oh, ideologies doesn't exist here. But that is clearly wrong. And we cancelled that rebuttal by saying these political parties are eventually the ones that will be ruling this country. Now, when a party rules a country, whatever the party stands for immediately reflects on the country and the lives of the citizens in that particular country. That is why we have Christian nations, Islamic nations, we have communist societies, we have liberal societies. Even though we have Muslims in Christian nations, Christians in Islamic nations, we have people that are not communists in communist societies, simply because that is what the political party and the government is practicing. So whatever the government does is a direct reflection on the lives of the citizens. Also, we've been able to show you political polarization, where the parties are busy fighting among themselves, where there is inter-party argument among themselves, rather than caring about the things that should be focused on in the country, which is one of the natures of these political parties in status quo. We also showed you elitism, which is a situation whereby we see a close circle of people that are the people of that are the government. That is why we have something in Nigeria called the presidency. Where does that work? Why do we have a presidency and a president? The presidency is basically the people that now have the full power over the government and the people that can say things and those things stand. These elites are the people that will sit in their home, call the president of the country and say, hey, cancel this decision. I don't like it. It doesn't favor me. I don't care what happens to the citizens of this country. Also, we have political repression, where we see that the leading political party tramples on the other political parties. We see that in Nigeria today, where we see the people supporting APC riding over people supporting Labour Party and the rest of them, simply because their candidate is on the presidential seat and they have full power. That is what happens in status quo when we allow political parties. Now, I'm showing you what is happening in this world with political parties. The sixth thing that happens when we have political party is we see political power hold. We saw that the People Democratic Party in Nigeria ruled for 18 long years. Why did that happen? Because there was a power hold amongst the people. Now we saw people holding power amongst themselves, refusing to release it until the year 2015, where President Muhammadu Buhari broke that, and then it became APC. And then now we see that we have had APC ruling for 8 years, and we see a likely chance of another 8 years of APC ruling the people. Now, why is this so? Because we see a strong political power hold. Now, this will keep on happening for generations after generations after generations if we do not stop these political parties and move to our world with our political parties. Now, showing you what my first and second speakers have said on what the world without political party looks like is diverse representation. The speakers for the
the speakers for the opposition side said there will be diverse representation amongst the people, but explain to me where that happens. We see that the All Progressive Congress of Nigeria is filled with Yoruba and Islamic people. Now, where is it diverse? How is it diverse? Show me how it is diverse. We see that this is no longer diverse, as it is just supporting a certain group of people, a certain tribe, or a certain religion. So that is what my first speaker showed you. That is what their speaker said. And I just showed you the clash and showed you how my side outweighs what their side said. Now, we also showed you all ages inclusion, where the people are able to, the younger generation are able to come up to speak. Now, we saw that in the election, people came out and mass, not the youth of Nigeria coming out to vote for not the party, but for the person leading that particular party. We saw them following the candidate Peter Obi because they like the way he likes his stand. Now, this happens when we take away the world, when we have the world without political parties. We see that the inclusion of all age groups, especially they have granted seats. Now, moving on, we have meritocracy. In this world, we see that people that deserve these seats are the ones that are able to sit on these positions. We see that we are no longer having the richest person or the wealthiest person or the oldest person going into the political position. We see that it becomes the people that is most deserving of that position that will get the power. Now, I'll be showing you what side opposition has said in this whole debate. First, they spoke on transparency and accountability. And my boss will always counter that and destroy the argument by saying these people are not accountable to the citizens anymore. They spoke about, there's going to be a lot of expensive if one person wants to run for power, and there's not going to be enough money for them. That is why we have political parties to help them. Exactly. That is what we are also showing you. We are telling you that once this political party funds them, we are immediately answering to the political parties, not to the citizens of the country. Immediately become pawns to these political parties and don't answer to the citizens of this country. Now, they also spoke on internal democracy. Internal democracy is not democracy for everybody. Rather, it is democracy for the elites. Like my first speaker already said in her arguments, she spoke of elitism, which is a situation whereby we see the powerful and richest people being the ones that have the full control over power. Internal democracy is for them, as we see in the primary elections in Nigeria. Now, I would like to point out to the opposition side that primary elections are not conducted simply because they want people who represent them finally. This election is conducted because they want to pick the person that will be most favorable to them when the person is on the seat of power. Moving on to the other things that they said, they also spoke of corruption and how these political parties will be invested on staying in these seats, which leads to corruption. Exactly our point. We don't want these political parties because corruption is going to exist continually. It is not going to stop. We keep seeing these cases of corruption in these countries, and now we're able to start destroy most of the arguments that they have said in their debate. Now, moving on to the summary of my team case. Now, my team has been able to show you what the nature of political parties look like. They've been able to show you that there will be party interests and political ideologies in a world that has political parties. We've also been able to show you that political polarization is definitely going to exist. We've been able to show you what elitism is, who the elites are, and how elitism is going to work in these societies. We've been able to show you examples of political repression and how different political parties oppress the other ones because the candidates are the ones on seats. Now, we also showed you how political parties end up holding power for several years because the people, because of how much, end up being on seats for several years because of how much power that they have.
Then we also showed you what our world will look like with all these political parties. Now, let me make sure I have made it clear to the panel and my opposition that what we are basically showing you in this debate is how it is going to benefit the citizens and the people more in this debate. That is why we showed you the benefits that you will have when there are no political parties. We're able to show you what's there. We're able to show you that it really involves diverse representation as opposed to what opposition calls diverse representation. We're able to show you how all ages will be included in this. We're able to show you how it will be based on meritocracy as opposed to nepotism. We're able to show you a flexible and adaptive government where the government is truly for the people rather than government being government for the political party. And with this, I'm very proud to be the speaker for the opposition side. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, for the fine speech. Would like to call upon the stage the whip speaker from side opposition whip, whenever you're ready.
Can I start?
Yes, you may begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and honorable opponents, as the third speaker for the opposition team, my role today is to refute the arguments presented by the opposition, rebuild our case, and ultimately prove to you why we deserve to win this debate on the motion. This House prefers a world without political parties. Finally, before I proceed, I would like to point it out that Team Proposition failed this debate due to three key factors. First, if they dissolve parties, what alternative do they present? Second, how are they going to dissolve the parties? Third, what benefits does dissolving parties have to stakeholders? They did not answer any of these questions. While on our own side of the house, we gave you unchallenged cases while political parties need to stay. We gave you points on how dissolving these parties is impractical. We also gave you alternative solutions and their impacts on the solutions. Finally, their third speaker brought out new points, which I don't need to address them. Please take notes. Here are our impacts of our alternative model. It will impact the citizens, which include increased trust, empowerment, and representation. Secondly, democracy, which includes stability, effectiveness, and innovation. Thirdly, on the economy, which include policy certainty, business environment, and innovation. And fifthly, media, which include quality reporting and public discourse. Finally, I would like to point it out clearly that the proposition team lacks structure completely. The first speaker did not present their case, model, and case division. Finally, the proposition is supposed to tell us the problems they are trying to solve and their implementation framework, but they failed to do so. Finally, all the points they raised are impractical. They just keep beating around the bush. Finally, the proposition does not have alternatives and the processes of implementation of their claim. All the points they raised have been countered by our first speaker and our second speaker. They raised a point on corruption, which we told you that while political parties can be susceptible to corruption, they also establish rules and norms that govern political behavior. Also, they made mention of political ideologies, which we told you that we need to get rid of political, which they claim that we need to get rid of political parties because of their ideologies. We disagree with this claim because parties aggregate and the will and views of their interests through their representative, leading to a better government. Thirdly, they made mention of polarization, which is destroyed by a second speaker.
We told you that parties also provide structured frameworks for organizing diverse viewpoints and negotiating compromises. Also, they made mention of political repression, which we told you that they told you that parties are selfish and keep everything on their parties, to their parties. This is not true because this is solved through checks and balances. All their points are destroyed. Panel, here are the problems. The proposition believes that are the reasons to dissolve political parties, and we prove to you that it's not the best solution to solve the problems. We proceed to give you alternative model, which is practical to address these problems, and there is no response from the proposition. They brought a problem of corruption, and the problem of corruption can be solved through transparency and accountability measures. And they made mention of problem of polarization. And the problem of polarization can be solved through promotion of dialogue and compromise. Finally, the proposition is trying to build an impractical world without political parties. They will end up creating more chaos to the world. Finally, here are the harms of a world without political parties that the opposition are trying to bring. First, reduced organizational structure. Second, limited resources and visibility. Third, loss of political influence. Fourth, vulnerability to repression. Fifth, lack of alternative policy proposals. And sixth, long-term democratic stability. Finally, I would like to rebuild an alternative model. First, transparency and accountability measures. Second, promotion of internal democracy. 3, education and civic engagement. 4, inclusivity and diversity. 5, promotion of bipartisanship. And 6, monitoring and evaluation. Finally, I would like to rebuild our own points. In our own side of the house, we made mention of political stability and coherence governance as a compelling reason against the motion. And we told you that political parties create structured platforms and manifestos that guide policy direction and governance. And we gave you an example of Germany. We told you that in Germany, the coalition between CDU/CSU, that is the Christian Democratic Union and Christian Social Union, and SPD, Social Democratic Party, exemplifies as effective governance. Despite ideological differences, coalition agreements provide a detailed roadmap for stability, enabling effective management of economic challenges and maintenance of social welfare systems. Therefore, this point stands beyond reasonable doubt. Moving on with our next substantive, which is effective policy implementation. We told you that political parties provide a structured approach to governance through comprehensive policy platforms that outline visions and strategies. And we gave you an example of the United States. We told you that in the United States, party platforms crafted during national conventions guide legislative agendas. Therefore, this point is justified. Moving on with enhanced accountability mechanisms. We told you that political parties maintain internal mechanisms to uphold accountability among members, ensuring adherence to party platforms and commitments. And we gave you an example of the UK. We told you that the UK's Labour Party employs a comprehensive manifesto to hold MPs accountable for policy commitments, particularly in sectors like national health services and social welfare. Therefore, this point is justified. Moving on with voter education and engagement. We told you that political parties play a pivotal role in educating voters about political issues. And we gave you an example of India. Panel, we mentioned organized political action, and we gave you an example of US. We also made, and the point is still standing, we also made mention of reduction of special interest influence. And we gave you an example of Canada, and the point is also standing. We also gave you an example of, we mentioned a point, which is inclusive representation and governance. And we gave you an example of South Africa. And the point is still standing. Therefore, all our points are irrefutable. In conclusion, we, the opposition, has effectively refuted the proposition's point by showcasing the essential role of political parties in fostering stability, promoting inclusive governance, ensuring policy effectiveness and empowering citizens through political engagement. We have demonstrated that parties are indispensable for navigating diverse interests, maintaining accountability, and resisting external influence. By building a strong defense of political parties, we have underscored their critical contribution to democratic governance and societal representation. Therefore, we urge the House to recognize the fundamental importance of political parties in upholding democratic values and to support the opposition in rejecting the motion. I rest my case. Incredibly practical opposite.
Thank you, Speaker, for the fine speech. Would like to call upon the stage opposition reply speaker to put forward the op reply speech. Opposition reply, whenever you're ready, here.
Can I start?
Yes, you can begin now.
I'm the reply speaker of the opposition team. I'm here to compare and contrast between our point and their point. Why do you have this debate? We have this debate to hold up democratic ideas. We have this debate to find a better solution for citizens. On team opposition, we are able to point out the existing problem in the status quo, such as corruption and polarization, which we prove to you are very weak reason to dissolve political parties. We also responded to key issue in the debate. We pointed out how proposition lacks structure to back up their claims. On our own side of the house, we gave you 6 critical steps to implement out a better alternative, which are transparency and accountability, promotion of internal democracy, education and civic engagement, inclusivity and diversity, promotion of bipartisanship, and monitoring and evaluation. All these are not responded to either those same proposition represented any model of implementation. Panel, since we are debating to protect citizens and democracy, let us do impact analysis to see how our solution solvency affect democracy, governance, and citizens. First, citizens. Second, democracy. 3, governance. 4, economy. And 5, media. Citizens, enhance transparency and accountability measure, build trust in political parties and the democratic processes. Second, democracy, promoting bipartisanship and collaborative policy making, reduce polarization and legislative gridlock, fostering political stability. 3, government, clear leadership development, pathway and effective leadership training, enhance the efficiency of governance operations. And 4, economy, sound economic policies. Sound economic policies derived from evidence-based research provide stability and confidence for economic stakeholders. And the last one is media, quality reporting, increase transparency and public engagement, providing media outlets with sustainable consent and informed reporting. We had no response to that from proposition, which means we didn't justify all stakeholders. We are able to destroy their point of minority. First, minority. Second, corruption. Third, polarization. Fourth, political repression. Shout out our first and second speaker. In the end, here are our points still standing. Here are our points still standing. political stability and coherent governance, effective policy implementation. 3, enhance accountability mechanism. 4, voter education and engagement. 5, organized political action. 6, reduction of special interest influence. And 7, inclusive representation and governance. All these are strong points are not challenged. Therefore, with this, we have won this debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, for the fine speech. We would like to call upon the stage proposition reply speaker to put forward the reply speech from side proposition. Prop reply, whenever you're ready, you're here.
I start in 3, 2, 1. Notice, panel, that this is a preferred motion and there is no need for a model, neither is there any need for us to show how we will move political parties. In this motion, we are to show you a comparative between a world without political parties and a world with political parties, and which one is more preferred and how they benefit the state and the people. Stand before you today is the reply speaker for team proposition on this motion, and as the request now be weighing the clashes in this debate. Team opposition said that political party is a critical pillar for democratic structure. But this is wrong, because we showed you how in our side, what you need is an individual coming out to represent the people. On our side, we are showing you how we still have individuals and how we provide a diverse range of individuals for them to pick through, rather than having political parties in which who they want to represent them and who they bring for us to be our representative. 2, government accountability. They said how they talked of how they will fix their side with government accountability and how they will talk to the government. But we have to understand, in our side, we told you how they do not listen to the people, but they listen to their godfathers, to the people who helps them get into this power. And when they are in this power, they do not try to help, they do not try to focus on the interests of these people, but they first go after the interests of their political parties and those who help them get into power, rather than that of individuals in these countries. They also said impracticality and the impracticality of independent voters. But we are going to show you how 40% in the US do not have a political party. The reason why team opposition sees it as impractical to them is because there are so many political parties nowadays that everybody believes that you as an individual are already automatically belonging to one political party or another. We have to understand that political parties do not have to stand for there to be democracy. This is representative democracy, and in situations whereby they no longer represent the thoughts of the people, but the thoughts of themselves, we need to put political parties aside and look towards the future of our nations by finding other means of bringing out representatives. They also said how they are going to fix political parties framework with accountability and transparency. They said that there will be check and balances on their side. But how are they going to be check and balances when the people in power are those who, when the people in power are the people still choosing who gets to check and balance them? How are they going to be removed? Or how are they going to be judged? Whereby in situations where who is there to check and balance them is the same people they brought in, is the same people they look after and who they brought into power. These people will not look on how to check and balance them. Instead, they are going to look on how they are going to safeguard this person's place in power. They also talked about diverse parliament. But how is there a diverse parliament whereby where in situations whereby these political parties are bringing out who they want for you to choose from to represent you, whereby you see political parties bringing out just one individual to see to the interests of these people, and these people are not even interested in safeguarding the rights of these individuals, but safeguarding the way that their political godfathers and their party men look at them and how they are going to get into power next day. And over again. We have been able to show you in this debate how we are able to show you in this debate the nature of political parties and how it is not possible for them to favor the individuals because they have parties which they stand on, which they stand under, and they have their ideologies where they have to conform to their party's ideologies, and these parties' ideologies thereby turns into or makes the nation seem like that is their ideology. And with this, I'm not more proud to propose.
Thank you, Speaker, for the fine speech. And with that, we have come to an end of the debate round for now. Thank you all to all the speakers, to the teams for joining in for our round. With that being
the
said,
judges,
yes.
the judges, I opened a breakout room for just judges. Please,